The Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill podcast.
So excited. We've got Ariarne Titmus in the room.
Yeah.
I'd have forgotten how many medals you've won. You won like trillions of medals.
Can we just quickly
Thanks, guys. Oh, good. Oh, yeah. So, okay, I want to say I loved watching you swim. It's the most I've been into swimming for ages. The fact that you backed up the 400 freestyle. Nuts. Amazing. And then all the other things on top of it. How are you feeling?
First sleep in the bed last night. I feel pretty happy to be home, to be honest. I'm so tired. I've just been on like the biggest whirlwind. Stayed in Melbourne for the footy on the weekend.
I love that.
Yeah, love it. And then came back yesterday to Brizzy.
So how long ago was it that you left Brisbane pre-Olympics?
I think it has to be nearly 10 weeks.
What?
Yeah, so we were away, I think, all up for the Olympic campaign, just over 8 weeks. And then I obviously stayed, maybe it's about 9 weeks. 9 weeks I was away.
That's a stint.
Yeah.
God. How was it staying with the team for so long before the Olympics? Like, was it 5 weeks with the team?
Yeah, it was pretty good, to be honest, because we just kind of stayed in our coaching groups and they made it pretty easy. Like, it didn't really feel like training camp as such. It just kind of felt like normal, and then they kept the meetings and that thing to a minimal. But then once we kind of got closer to competition, that's when it started to feel like very real.
When did the largest block of your training occur? Is it this year? Like, have you worked harder this year than you have, like, sort of this time last year, or how long has the really intense training block gone for?
I think it's the same every year. Like, you have the same structure, but I think the last 12 months there's just more importance on getting everything right, because if you're not prioritising your training in the year out from the Olympics, you don't want to leave anything to chance. So I think there was more sessions where if I wasn't hitting my times mentally, you start to question yourself and your confidence doesn't build. So it's more about trying to do everything right in the last 12 months. But in terms of the training schedule and the Ks and everything, it's pretty much the same every year, I guess. Yeah.
What's the main thing you say to yourself in your head during a hard set?
I don't know. I actually kind of love it. I'm so weird.
I know. I know you are. That's why I'm curious to know what goes on in that head of yours. You love training.
Yeah,
hey?
I just see how much I can get out of myself, and I think I definitely some of those really tough sessions, you're in a battle with yourself mentally for sure, but it's about that, like, pushing past that point. I think you can get past the pain point where it almost goes on to the other side where it kind of feels good again. It's hard to describe.
Really?
But yeah.
Wow, that's such an interesting insight.
And is that because that feeling, whatever that is, and I think you don't have to be an Olympic champion to know, like, that you want to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I go for a run and I'm running fast, it's like I want to stop. Or if I'm swimming and it's like in me, I want to stop. But
it's this level of satisfaction.
Quite often I do, yeah. But you, like, on a daily basis, are you pushing through that and finding some other level of enjoyment that exists beyond the pain and the willingness to stop?
You definitely can't do it every day.
Right.
But at certain points and certain sessions where you want to really get something out of it, or the really tough ones. Like, sometimes we've got like sessions that are 5 kilometres of hard work and there might be 100 easy in there. And so it's those sessions that you're trying to really grind and get the best out of yourself.
It's like, I mean, with your coach, like the way you must be so tough in that way, because he can extract things from you that other swimmers you probably wouldn't do, right? Like, he can say to you, come on, that time was the 4th fastest in the world this year. You're
better than that.
Oh, yeah, and he'll say that and you respond to that, whereas other athletes could fall in a heap if you did that. So that's an interesting dynamic, to know how he can push the buttons he can push with you, or more importantly, the ones he can't push.
Yeah, it's like a bit of reverse psychology. I think maybe he's mellowed with me a little bit as I've gotten older. I think when I was a baby, I'd just do everything he said, and he'd just, like, stamp me down, and I'd just be like, okay. But now I think it's more of a collaborative approach, and I can provide him with some knowledge, and vice versa. But he's still pretty tough. Like, if I get a good job, I've done a great job. So, but
from him.
Yeah, from him. But
Okay.
it's funny, like, now it's all done and dusted. Like, Dean's such a personality beyond swimming coaching that when he's coaching me at the pool, he has that persona, that tough coach, and he's very hard on me. But as soon as the session's done, he is just totally himself with me, and we joke and we have fun and laugh. So it's a different dynamic.
Were you happy with his performance that he put on poolside? I'm being serious. Like in comparison to what we've seen him going like berserk in
I
Tokyo.
think he's mellowing as well.
Do you think that he's like he held a little back, or do you think?
Well, he doesn't like that people talk about it because, I mean, Susie, you would know, like, that's just the way he is. Like, he even said to me, for my 800 final, he said to me, I think I'm going to watch it on TV and not out in the crowd.
Really?
I said, why? He said, because I don't want them to see me. He's like, because he can't help it. And I was like, no, like, this is my last race at these Olympics. I was like, can you watch it live? So then he went and tried to find a little hidey place. But I guess that's just totally him. But you know what the funniest thing was? I watched the replay back of the 400 and I saw where he was standing. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the people next to him were Summer McIntosh's parents.
Oh, were they? One of your competitors in the race?
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, what were you saying? He goes, no, they weren't. And I was like,
You're right though. He doesn't want the attention, does he? That's how he is. I've been to some of your training sessions, and he's kind of like that on the pool deck. I want to talk to you about your 400 free that you defended the title over in Paris. When you walked out behind the block, you put your clothes in a basket or whatever. A box.
Yeah, what about that?
You put your clothes accidentally in Katie Ledecky.
Yeah.
The biggest,
Accidentally in inverted commas.
your biggest competition, obviously. Has won that event before. Maybe?
she won it in Rio.
Yeah, before, and you put it in her basket. So what happened?
Well, I want to put it out. It was totally an accident. I was, when you're just waiting, you come out and you're in your zone and you're just, not really thinking about anything. And it sounds really bad, but like I just looked at like that lane 4 chair and thought that was the spare one. And just,
I love it.
Because usually in lane 4.
That'll be for me.
And I didn't even see that like lane 5 was free next to me. And then I was, put my stuff in the box and she just comes over and goes, Arnie, that's my lane. And I was like, I felt so bad because like I didn't want to psych her out or anything. And also, if we had a swum in the wrong lanes, we both would have got DQ'd. So that just would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
So totally not on purpose. And then the funny thing was we went to the medal ceremony room and we were joking heaps about it. She's like...
You do talk to her?
Yeah, we talk all the time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And she was like, it's okay, I get it. She goes, we're both pretty used to lane 4.
Oh, God. And you didn't look
That's
nervous
funny.
at all before your races. Were you not nervous?
Nah, I was more nervous, honestly, like the 2-3 days prior. I was more nervous about, I went off Instagram and everything because everything was just starting to get quite a lot. And I was like, this is just not good for me. I just went off it earlier than I thought I would.
Like positive messages? Like of support?
Yeah, but too much positive can like have the opposite effect. Because think about every time someone says to you, can't wait to see you win. And then you actually start to realise, oh my God, what if I don't win?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't want to see any of it. And I was feeling quite nervous then. But then once I got into racing and I went out for the heat, I was like, I'm fine. Like, this is going to be great. And then I was I just loved it. Like the walking out to the crowd, like looking up, you could just see people into the sky. Like you have to embrace it and lap it up.
Good atmosphere. Was it a great atmosphere?
Oh, it was unreal. I think, what was it, 17,000? And it was packed every session. I remember my first 400, the heat, they were cheering at like the 250 mark in the 400 heat. I was thinking, why are they cheering? Like, what's going on? But they were just loving it. So,
really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And you can actually hear that. You can draw on that as you swim.
In an enclosed stadium like that where it was packed, you could definitely hear it.
Do you reckon that the Americans, the Americans are, and I think this is great. I spoke to your old man about this. Like, I think like swimming's our number one Olympic sport, right? Like most popular for viewers and everything like that.
Most successful too.
And most successful, obviously. Like to give that the biggest possible, particularly for Brisbane 2032, the biggest possible crowd. Like as in. We had our Olympic trials at Chandler. Yeah. Like the Americans had it in Indianapolis in an NFL stadium with I don't know how many. They were getting record crowds over 20,000 every night. LA's at SoFi Stadium, which is
38,000 for the swimming.
38,000?
Insane.
Even Indianapolis, I think Gretchen Walsh broke a world record. That noise that's watching on YouTube is like more than I've heard at any sport, let alone any swimming before. Like, and I said to your dad, like when he came in from my Olympic podcast, I was like, man, Suncorp Stadium.
Suncorp.
I know.
Like, it's
Suncorp.
If they can make it work for swimming, and your dad's like, it's got to be warm-up pools, and I get that.
But they can do that.
Yeah, cool. That's about the same. Suncorp's about the same size as La Defense, where we had the swimming in Paris. They basically just like cut the stadium in half and have the warm-up out the back and the stadium out the front. So they could do that, or they can just build a great pool.
Or they could or they could do that as well.
Well, it'll be a bit cold at Suncorp because the Brisbane Olympics will be around now.
Yeah.
So Well, they might want an indoor pool to get good performance.
Okay. I'm just saying, I think that we should have the biggest crowd because then people in Brisbane can actually go watch it.
Yeah.
It'll be the number one
kids
ticket
can watch it
as well. Now,
if you have it at a small
Yes.
arena, then it's only corporates and that will end up getting there anyway. That's what I think.
now, what do you do now? Like, do you take a break for like an extended period? I guess, is that a difficulty? You know, Suze knows better than anyone. I mean, like, how long can you stay out of the pool before you start?
Well, I think when you're younger, you think breaks are bad things, and then when you get older, you realise breaks are the best things. I've swum my best coming off a big break, so I've got 4 years. I'm going to take as long as I need. I mean, obviously physically I need a rest, but I think more than anything, mentally I just need to switch off. So, I'll keep fit, definitely. I'm a very routine person, so I'll stay in the gym and keep
Pilates and stuff, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, I want to get more into running. I'll probably still go for a float every now and then in the water, but I just want to do a bit of me time, stay away from that high pressure environment. And I've allowed myself 12 months if I need it, but just basically when I feel like the hunger's built back up and I want to go back, I'll go back.
And speaking of building up, and this is just purely from an aesthetic point of view, having followed your career as many of us has, from Tokyo to now, it looks aesthetically, at least, that you've put on so much strength and muscle. Like, was that something that you said, I need more strength, or how did that come about, where physically you've been able to build your body up so much?
It was actually off the back of my break from Tokyo. I came back and my swimming was so light and easy, but the strength work I was doing was really challenging, and I just put muscle on so quickly. I think I put on between 3 and 4 kilos of muscle in the first 6 months I was back in training, which is crazy. But I stripped a little bit off. I probably put on a bit too much, but I definitely think I found that perfect power to weight ratio. I just feel like in Paris, my body comp and my strength was just perfect. I had so much more strength than what I did in Tokyo, but I felt like I didn't look like the Hulk.
No, but you look strong, just physically strong.
Yeah, so I was proud of that actually.
Yeah.
I think swimmers have got a lot more muscly than they used to be when I swam. For example, Katie Ledecky, who you compete against.
Yeah.
I mean, she does look like the Hulk. She does look in a good way.
Yeah.
She does look muscly.
Yeah,
really
a lot of the
She's not green. We're not saying that.
she's very muscly for a distance swimmer.
Yeah, a lot of the distance swimmers now don't look like distance swimmers.
No.
Yeah.
I hope she didn't hear that. I mean, it was a compliment.
No, I get it, because it wasn't something like if you were swimming now, so it's like 20 years ago, there wasn't as much emphasis on the physical strength.
No, not even our gym programs were like what you guys do now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more science background.
And one other thing, just because you're so structured, so disciplined, like all swimmers are just like incredible athletes, incredible athletes. But what's been the one treat? Like to have led such a disciplined life and and get to the top of the tree, not once but a couple of times, and one of our greatest Olympians now. Like, when you do something special like that, what's the treat that you give yourself?
Just a pack a day.
Well, what is it? The bakery, the Cinnabons?
No,
what
honestly,
is it?
I live a pretty well-balanced life, I think, but I hadn't had a drink since October, so it was very nice to just, when I was, I got home, or even like after racing, we were, had a good time, but getting home and I was in Melbourne and I was open the menu and I'd say, okay, where's the drinks menu? And I'd have a glass of wine with dinner. That was very nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What was your first drink you had after when you finished swimming? Was it a cocktail?
Susie drinks a bit.
I had a glass of champagne. I went out to lunch with my family the day after I finished racing, and I had a glass. That was my first drink, a glass of champagne.
That's so cool.
And you've brought in a magazine with yourself.
I have not. This was here.
What is this?
We can put it up on the wall next to a Pat Carrigan poster if you want.
Harvey Norman.
Yeah,
definitely.
It is a sponsor, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well done. It's so good to see you in person. You swam incredible.
Bravo.
Well done.
Another round of applause.
Oh, thanks, guys.
There we go. Ariarne Titmus.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill podcast.